Hi, I'm Carol Jacobson. Listening. What if we listened more? Would we be more compassionate? If we took the time to hear about a person's life and not be influenced by their skin color, would we begin to see our common ground rather than our differences? If we better understood how racism impacts every aspect of their lives, would we speak up against it? Would we resist this injustice like civil rights activists of the past? Take a listen to the interviews that follow. Is there something you can do to help? Enjoy the show. Hello, today we have with us Justin Russell. And could you give me a little background on you?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me. And my name is Justin Russell. I am from Detroit, Michigan originally, but I've grown up in the Bay Area since the early 2000s. I've been here 20 years plus now. I love California. I love the Bay Area. I have been working in television production and video production for well over 10 years now. It's something I'm very passionate about, and working in the community sector specifically for about 6 or so years.
When you grew up, did you ever experience racism?
When I was in high school, I remember it was his birthday, and we were celebrating his birthday at home. It was just me, him, and my mother, and it may have been my two nieces that were there at the time. And I remember we were having a good time, and he loves watermelon, so he was like, I'm going to go out and grab a watermelon. So he leaves our home, he goes to the store, and several hours pass. To the point where, I wake up in the middle of the night, it's like 1 a.m. I go into my mother's room, and she's still awake. She's just kind of, and I asked, did Dad come home? She's like, nope, he's still out. I've been calling him. I can't figure out, go to sleep. You got school in the morning. You know what I mean? So I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning. He's still not there. But she calls me and tells me that your father has been arrested. And that they've taken him to jail. So that was a very, very crazy experience for me. I'm like, arrested for what? And this story sounds fake every time that I tell it, but it's a very real story. So my mother goes and picks him up, and, he comes home and he's super mad and pissed off, and he was already a pretty irritable individual, but this is like something that very much shook him. So he was extra on top of, super traumatized about the situation. But, he was like, I'm going to sue, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And ultimately what he told me the story was that they accused him of stealing the car he was in. They pulled him out of the car. They pointed a bunch of guns to his head and arrested him and took him to jail. They stuck him in an interrogation room. He said, I'm not saying anything. I'm calling, give me a lawyer. They put him back in his cell, and he called my mom. My mom came, picked him up, and that was essentially the situation. But then they tried to press charges and, essentially say that he had a weapon in his vehicle, and that was why the whole situation had taken place. My father, I wasn't allowed to play with toy guns as a kid, so I just knew that was impossible. At one point, he fought it, so we went to, he had to go to trial. At one point, my mother took me to one of the hearings, and I couldn't sit through it. I started crying, probably 15 minutes within the end of the hearing, just listening to people on the witness stand just say crazy things that just didn't make sense about my father. And so my mother rushed me out of the courtroom, and she said, that's it, he's not coming to any more hearings. And I felt bad because I wanted to support my dad, but ultimately the charges were dropped, nothing happened, and that's probably the major experience in my life that I can pinpoint and go, oh, this was probably, you know what I mean? This was definitely racism rather than probably, yeah.
Oh, my God, yes. Mm-hmm. Well, what year was that in?
That would have been 2007, probably. 2007 or 2008, I would say.
And in what city?
Antioch, California. The reasons we've been able to strike up the friendship or the relationship that we have is because, when I met you, you were super passionate about having these conversations, and this is super important to me as well. But even before that, just seeing your art on the walls, right? It was just it brought life to me. Seeing that somebody from this community cares this much to express themselves in this way. So I think that it was awesome, and I really appreciate you having me today.
Well, thank you very much, Justin. It's been very informative to me, and I hope to other people.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Carol. Bye-bye.
Bye.